A virus like COVID-19 has not only changed the world system, but has also raised the bar for people living with disabilities to be accepted and recognized in the society. This is why the theme for this year's International Day of Disabled Persons is leadership and participation of persons with disabilities towards an inclusive, accessible and sustainable post-COVID-19 world. INT'L compiled this report.
Three visually impaired people share their stories on how it has been for them being accepted into the society.
Exactly June 2018, I finally lost my sight. And one day I was watching television because everybody ran away, everybody left me. I remained inside for 2 years. Nobody was even coming to see me.
The doctors were on strike. And I said when? They said until when the doctors resumed. I said, okay, no problem. I left. So when I heard that the doctors had resumed, I went back to the general hospital. I was told I've lost my right eye.
Even when I tried committing suicide one time like that, when I nearly had my accident, everything, just my sisters, they have been so supportive. So that's why I don't even care if any other person doesn't accept me.
People living with disabilities are said to be one of the most excluded groups in our society and are among the hardest hit in crisis in terms of fatalities.
For 4 years now, I've not earned a dime. It is. I'm living on charity, friends, and so on.
We need to be assisted because we have limitation. But how can we go beyond the limitation? Is by investing in knowledge. Is by adding to our value. I still want to even become the personal assistant, either to the governor or to the president.
There's no difference between people living with disability and people that are not living with disability in space of leadership. It's just for us to get that opportunity and given the chance to lead.
Statistics have shown that there are about 25 million persons living with disabilities in Nigeria, with most of them due to lack of proper medical facilities. And in a country where matters concerning the citizens are being discussed each day, it is believed that there should be at least a person living with disability in the midst.
We have a generation right now that could be stereotypical about people with disability, and because of our nature in Nigeria, people tend to look down on them. But we are out there to do what we call the advocacy. We advocate for people who are disabled, and we encourage inclusive employment for them so that they also can know they are part of a community where they are loved, accepted, and where they could even showcase what they can do.
Special schools are good. They've served their purpose. But in this era, it's strengthened that perception that people with disability are people apart. And that's the whole essence of inclusive education, to have an education environment where children with special needs, children with special disability learn at their own pace, in their own way, unique ways, but still along with other children. So it is important that we have persons with disability, people with disability on the table, at the table when critical decisions are being made that will affect their lives.
While the number of people living with disabilities increase, experts say there is an urgent need to include them in decision-making and leadership positions. INT'L, TVC News, Lagos.
Happy International Day.
Right. Joining me now is founder I Care Initiative and Get Education Foundation, Oluwafemi Oladuni. Thank you for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's begin with an assessment of what has changed since the bill for persons living with disabilities became an act about 3 years ago. And it is said that about 23 states have not domesticated it, but we have 13 who have domesticated it. What has changed since that period from your assessment?
All right, thank you for having me. Sincerely speaking, nothing has changed.
Right.
And thank God in the heart, there was a transitional period that were given, that was stated in the heart. We see that, public buildings, organizational buildings, nothing, the structures has not been affected to allow people with disabilities have access to the buildings. Even public transport, I know, BRT is trying, BRT has always been the one, with the public transport that has affected the changes in their buses. Other sector, other places, you see that nothing has changed really. So we just have the law mere on paper, why the respective organizations are refused to effect the changes.
But now it's been said that persons living with disability have to be at the forefront of championing this change. And what is the level of engagement with regards to, yes, there is a law, it is not been effectively seen to be, ensuring inclusivity as it is supposed to?
I'm still going to refer to the law, actually, because, in the law, it was stated that, government should sensitize. So people with disabilities are not much abreast with their rights as stated in that provision of the Act.
Right.
So we need the government to come in and sensitize these people, let them get to know their rights. So if they get to know their rights, that is when they will know how to test it. So there's a place of testing, right? I could, walk up to a public building. If I do not have access to that building because of the way I work or because of my disability, I could bring a lawsuit against such building. But these people, they are not aware. So what my organization is doing...
Some will say government cannot do everything. And that's why people like you who are aware, I believe you understand what it is. So how are you ensuring that you are creating that level of awareness, and where do we go from here?
Thank you so much. That is what my organization, I Care Initiative, is doing. What we do basically is just to create an awareness and say, hey, you have this right, you have this right, you have this right. This is the way to enforce it. This is the way to, to bring about it. So that is the way we come into play. However, the onus is still on the government who passed the law to make sure that these people are adequately aware, they are abreast of their rights as stated in the Act. Some of them cannot see, so how do you expect them to know? You get what I'm saying? Now, some of them cannot hear, how do you expect them to know? But you should bring such organization as mine together, try to, create what's it called now, so that we can come together and try to enlighten these people. Private sector cannot do it alone. Individual organizations cannot do it alone. But we still need the involvement of the government.
And that is how we can get the inclusivity that we are looking for.
Yes, so they need to be aware. So once they are aware, I'm sure they will make a move to wanting to see that these people, these laws are effected.
All right, and that will be a fine place to leave the conversation. Now, founder, I Care Initiative and Get Education Foundation, Oluwafemi Oladuni. Thank you for your time on the news.
All right, thank you so much.